If you've ever built or remodeled a home and you've chosen marble or quartzite for your kitchen counters and you've seen the ridiculously expensive price tag and you want to know how you can DIY it, I'm going to show you in this video in 10 minutes or less how to do it yourself. Hey guys, I'm Sydney and this is Amelia. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to do it yourself a marble or quartzite countertop. So I'm going to go through all of the steps and we're going to show you how to take an old table from this to this. And I'm going to tell you how to do it along the way. So don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. All right, let's get this going. So step one, you want to prep your surface and use a base color for your stone, whatever you're doing, marble or quartz. I prepped the surface with rubbing alcohol so that there was no moisture on the table, and I also pre-cleaned it with some antibacterial cleaner. I chose this white pure enamel color with primer built in, so it took less time. This is also a professional grade spray paint, so it takes 15 minutes to rapid dry. Then don't forget the edges of your table. Up next, step two, give your surface some sheen with a metallic paint of whatever color, if you so choose. So I just did a complete total coat of this white pearl all over it because the quartz that I wanted to do has some sort of white shimmer in it. So this achieved the look that I was wanting to get. Cover the whole table evenly and with even strokes. As you can see, a little bit of a sparkle. Step three, create your marble shadow with a color of your choice. So I chose this metallic silver color and I'm just going up my table. I'm giving it whatever lines I feel like. With the first table I did like this, I used an inspiration picture, but this I'm just doing whatever I want, and less is usually more. Step four, mix your epoxy. So this is a really important piece. You want to add your hardener first. Why? It's kind of chemistry. So the hardener is less of a dense viscosity than the resin. So if you add it to the bottom when the resin is added second, the resin sinks down. So it makes your mixing a whole lot easier. You want to add it 1 to 1, so however much you need, make sure it's even. Use a disposable container that you can throw away to make cleanup easy, and then use that cool little drill bit on the end. Make sure you don't make the drill go too fast or you'll introduce bubbles into your resin. If you do get bubbles, just gently tap it on the floor and then the bubbles will remove themselves. Step five, pour your epoxy straight into the center of your table or whatever surface you're working with. Get all of it out of there and then spread. So you want to spread directly out to the edges, and it is okay if it goes off the edges. We actually want it to drip off the edges because that way it will cover the edges nice and naturally. Make sure you've wrapped the table with some paper and the floor. Also watch where you're stepping. So you see I'm using one of those stir sticks. You can use that, you can use something plastic. It's totally your call. If you find hair in your epoxy or dust, take it out now while the epoxy's wet because the epoxy will then settle right over top of that dent you've made. Step six, and this is very important. Make sure the brush that you use is a synthetic bristled brush. There's something about the other aspects of the brushes that you can use that's bad for epoxy and it will disintegrate the brush. Go and make sure the edges are completely covered. Our next step is to add in your colors. So I chose 2 colors, the first of which was bright silver metallic, which closely matches the shadow lines that I did with the spray paint. So take your powder, and I use the sprinkle and stipple method. You can use the method where you mix it directly into the epoxy and let it drip off the sides, but I wanted a little bit more control over what my table looked like, so I used the sprinkle method. Just sprinkle it right over top. Again, less is more. You see that I'm outside, so working with the wind was kind of difficult, but step 7 and 8, using whatever colors that you want. I added the darker silver to add some depth into my table, and you can see that I am stippling the whole thing to have some control over the coloration, and I take the color from dark to light, light to dark, and I don't forget the edges either. Now, as the table is dripping, I like to go back in and collect the droplets off of the underneath of the table so that once the epoxy dries, you don't have those wart-like things. Now this stuff is optional. Add a dusting spray of the metallic color to give some extra sparkle to your table if desired. I'm spraying it higher away from the table, so it's just a dusting. Last but not least, allow your table to dry for at least 12 hours for the initial dry, and then 3 to 5 days for the protection of curing. Follow the directions on your epoxy for the best results. But as you can see, here is the table after we're done with the epoxy, and here it is after it's dripped and dried and settled. All right, there you have it. So it was super simple. It took me less than an hour and a half to do the entire process, including allowing the paint to dry that I painted the table with. And now it is curing. It takes about 5 days to cure, 7 for really good durability, and then 30 to be completely cured and hardened. So make sure that if you're going to put something heavy on it, that you let it have a little bit more time and you spot test before you put things on it. There's other methods as well, as I mentioned, but have fun, you guys. So if you have any questions, comment below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at DeLucchi and TikTok at the same thing. You guys have a good day, and we'll see you soon.